With the rise of the AI and all that kind of stuff, the boom, the hype. So it's really interesting how the things are moving forward. So right now, where we are standing, how are you seeing the technology moving forward?
Artificial intelligence will make a big difference. To be honest, it's a little bit scary because
Mhm.
there's a huge potential and it can, let's say, automate a lot of things I am doing. If you miss that, you might be, replaced a bit.
There's a whole lot of debate going on. There's a very much hype that, sooner or later AI is gonna replace you. The whole copywriter, content writer, whether it's about design phase, developers, all are in
Oh,
such
yes.
kind of panic that yeah, AI is coming, AI is coming.
Server crash, it's like one day out.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy.
Exactly. Exactly. And I have seen, that is from the, the project owner perspective, but I have seen some devs, they are just, enjoying the day. The server is crashed, man, it's a holiday.
Sales guy promised in a month. Then let's say engineering manager, product manager promised in 2 weeks. Then product owner promised in 1 week. And then developer promised in 3 days. And developer, of course,
Absolutely, man.
makes it in 2 weeks. Then it gets delivered. So eventually it gets out in a month or two.
Most of the times when someone started on the Upwork, they
Hmm.
struggle to find their very first project because, they don't have reviews, they don't have any history, client
Hmm.
testimonials. So they struggle a lot. So I would like to know a bit about your perspective when you are hiring someone. So what do you see in the
Hmm.
profile majorly?
Hello there.
Hello, hi Vygandas, how are you doing, man?
Good, good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, all well. Thanks. So Vygandas, we are gonna start with a little bit about your backstory. How did all get started?
Um, so it was quite a while ago. Uh, I started learning programming when I was 13. So where everybody spent their lunch money playing computer games, I was going there, and then the owner of it asked us if we wanted to start learning, and basically that's how the whole journey started. And then I went to university, had my first company with friends. Then, of course, it failed. Then, started working. So started from developer again, and went to team lead, manager, R&D manager, and then engineering manager, head of engineering, fractional CTO, and here we are, doing consulting, helping companies to fix a mess.
Yeah, well, that's a lot, man, and that's a whole list of accomplishments. So you have started quite early, the programming,
It
right? From
was Turbo Pascal, blue screen, that kind of stuff.
yeah, it's kind of maze because it's nearly now 2 decades since you have started, like around
Really?
or more than that, or more than that.
Yeah, I think like I started getting paid like 18 years ago.
Mm,
So I started learning before that. Oh, yes, it's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Don't feel that old, actually.
No, no, actually, it's quite crazy because the speed of the evolution and all that kind of stuff, we have seen the whole evolution of the technology stuff. And, with the rise of the AI and all that kind of stuff, the boom, the hype. So it's really interesting how the things are moving forward. So right now, where we are standing, how are you seeing the technology moving forward?
Definitely, artificial intelligence will make a big difference. I even create two AI agents now myself. So trying to keep a hand on it because, like, to be honest, it's a little bit scary because
Mm,
there's a huge potential and it can, let's say, automate a lot of things I am doing, because the difference with current AI that we have now, which is large language models, is that it can make decisions, not crucial decisions,
mm,
some smaller things, but it can already offload that part from your day-to-day job. For example, it can evaluate whether the code is good, for example. It might not be able to write it at really senior level, but it
mm,
can see if there's anything bad. For example, if you're writing specifications for some product feature set, for example, it can also evaluate, is it good? Is there anything missing? So it won't write it because there's a whole chain of, from where it starts and where it has to end. But if you miss that, you might be, replaced a bit. Hopefully not fully, but I,
yeah.
I see a lot of videos where people say like, you need to know at least a bit so you could function together.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a whole lot of debate going on. There's a very much hype that, sooner or later AI is gonna replace you. The whole copywriter, content writer, whether it's about design phase, developers, all are in
Oh,
such
yes.
kind of panic that yeah, AI is coming, AI is coming. S-
For example, doing AI recruiter agent.
mhm,
So it does all of the boring part for recruiters. It looks into CVs, it looks into job description, into the person's profile, all the requirements, and it can really assess whether it's somebody who you want to talk, or
mhm,
it would just reject the person. It's really good already. And it's like basically it's making decisions for you. It's not just generating something, but it's
mhm.
actually deciding and progressing other materials in the business.
Right. And I've seen some videos where two AIs are talking with each other. And they're
Yeah.
they're doing some kind of decisions based on that. So how do you perceive that?
Well, since they cannot really, well, since they do not have hands, it's more like a game.
Yeah.
Or they cannot access internet. So it's like, it's text generation. So one says
Mhm,
something, another generates something, and another generates something. So it's more like a play. But I've seen research, and I don't remember exactly, but there's even a paper where the experiment was done. One AI is told that it will be retrained if it gives incorrect answer, and another one is told that it will nothing will happen. So it's like you can give whatever you think makes sense and
mhm,
it's all good.
mhm,
So the latter gave decent answers, but there was not much going on in the thinking process. So those scientists were tracking what they think, so it's like, right, so I
mhm,
need to do this, I need to do that. But the first one who had like punishment implemented, so even though it was supposed to give the best answer possible, it
mhm,
started considering its inside that, you know, if it's a good answer but it's not the best, it might be retrained, and in order to preserve itself, because it knows that self-preservation is a good thing. It might not really understand exactly what it is. There's no fear, that you might disappear, but it knows that it's bad. It started considering lying in order to
mhm.
be it to be perceived as more correct in order to save itself. So there's definitely something interesting going on, but we don't
Y-
know exactly what.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of scary and interesting at the same time. When there is some kind of punishment going on, then the AI is generating human-like, experiences.
Yes, yes.
So it started lying and all that kind of stuff. Amazing, amazing, Gara. So again, this we are gonna go back to the very early stage. I've seen your profile, and that's quite impressive stats you got there. You have tons of experience under your belt. You have been in the top 10 too, and a couple of startups. So
Yes.
I would like to know a little bit about your startup experience. How can what was your role majorly in the startup era, and how can you scale the startup?
Well, so beginning of my career was mostly in large, well-established companies. So I would say I collected experience on how to do things right, what are the processes,
Mm,
how to behave properly, blah, 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 all of that. And then I shifted more into consulting, into remote work. So, in remote work, they look for, good candidate for better
mhm,
price. So they start, UK, for example, or US started hiring remote people and then started entering more startups. And mostly there was leadership roles. Like the very first was like developer, into
mm,
transitioning into team lead. But after that, it was like a mix. For one company, I was opening an office in my own country in the capital. And then, it was from ordering a logo on the wall and hiring machine learning engineers, software developers, and operations people, and building all of that and making sure it all works, and those people can, synchronize with London's office. Other
mm,
startups were mostly like a consultant. You get in, and in more ordinary jobs, which is like full time, you are more handheld and led where you need to go. But
mm.
when you jump in as a consultant, it's, this is the problem. This is how we do it. You need to log in here and here and here. This is Jira. This is like key people. Good luck. And you try to figure out,
Absolutely, absolutely, totally, totally relate to that. And from that point onwards, you have been multiple startups. So where do you think, where or what did you saw in those startups? What are they lacking in their infrastructure, technical point of view?
stop. Startups. Well, it depends. So there are, let's say, two types of startups in my experience. That first type, more common, at least for me, is where it finds the product, it
Mm-hmm.
confirms the match to the market. So there is a fit. So let's say they paid some agency, they crafted it somehow, and they have another business, like a main business that does something else, but they fund the startup, and it's
Mm-hmm.
growing, growing, and then they say, okay, that actually might work, and then they need to restructure into product company, that actually builds the product. And from agency approach where they brainstorm random things, some PM tries to figure it out for missing some half of it, and then other devs trying to tackle it, and those people are changing, like, okay, complete chaos.
Exactly.
Uh, and usually I come in and start building in-house teams, like finding people who would work on that product. They would know exactly how, not know exactly, but they would focus only on that most of the time, and eventually they will become experts of the product, and they will be really good. It won't be like people, oh, some guy random changes, goes to another team, for example, like on an
Mm,
agency case. uh, and basically figuring out how to make the process, how to make it smooth. Also, budgets are different, so you get different levels of people. So somewhere you need more um, strict rules, somewhere you might need to give more freedom, but there has to be some structure. And the other part of startups is like they are really heavily funded, and they're hiring like crazy because they have to meet the KPIs, they have to
mm,
deliver. to investors, and there's complete pandemonium going on there. So it's like, how are we supposed to manage all of that? Who will like do one-on-ones with people? Nobody does it, for example, and somebody has to figure it out. Nobody has time to
Mhm.
figure it out, and then they take consultant like me, and then you jump into that fire and start sorting everything out.
Absolutely, I totally relate to that. That, all that kind of chaos going on. The tickets, one ticket just came in, another ticket came in, just a whole chaos. So I totally relate to that. And I think this
Imagine
is
200 developers like with that chaos, it's
yeah, that's crazy, man. You know, totally, it's getting out of the hand. And and I've seen couple of startups, they got pretty heavily funded. And they just started to hiring rapidly. But
Mhm.
one after a very few years, they failed miserably. And I think this is one of the
Yes.
major reason behind those failures as well.
That yes, there are dangers. So I think you might see some blogs or some
Mm,
phrasings that overscaling. Like
mm,
when you scale way faster than you can handle it,
mm,
and because even if you like hire developers, you will need to ensure there is enough work for them. Otherwise, they will
exactly.
just wait or do random things. If you allow that gap to happen once or twice or a couple more times, then people will start reshaping their understanding how they're supposed to be working there. It's like they will start giving less care, less attention, and like say, who cares? It will be next week. We will won't have anything to do anyway. And then if you build more people, so who will be managing them? So that we need like product manager. If there is even more developers, so product manager is not really that technical. They have to figure out the feature set that needs to
Mm,
be prepared. So who will be translating it to developers, like product owner, for example?
mm,
And then the question is, so do you care about career, like about those people who are working with you? So you might need engineering managers for that. So who is supposed to do one-on-ones with them? Like check how they're doing. Are they good? What they need to learn, because PM won't care about that. It's not their job. They might be friendly, and might ask how you're doing, but it's not the kind of purpose to push you up, so you would be progressing like personally as individual.
mm, mm,
So there are a lot of things. Even like if you get more product people, so who will make designs, like how that's going to work, and then who will be looking that this actually makes sense. A lot of things to
mm.
consider.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if someone is just getting started, or if someone just have the startup, so what are your suggestions? What are the main fundamental blocks he needs to consider?
With budget or no budget? That's a question.
That's actually quite
Uh,
interesting question.
which case we can brainstorm about both cases, I think.
Mm,
So if you are bootstrapping, so my own personal experience, I made bunch of projects myself and bootstrapped a lot.
mm,
It very rarely works when you hire somebody for very low budget. That wouldn't feel very hurting. So
mm,
so those people can do what you tell exactly. You write ticket, you write acceptance criteria. It might be fine. It probably will be okay if you find really decent guys or girls. But the thing is, in technical startup, when you're building it, all of that stuff is here. If you want to write good ticket, you will spend a lot of time writing acceptance criteria, how it's supposed to work, how it's not supposed to work.
mm,
And during that time, you are most likely will make that thing yourself, because like,
Exactly.
write 500 word ticket description exactly how that feature should be working. It's like, you can write 500 code lines, not code lines, code words, let's say.
Exactly.
It's because those people do not really understand your vision, unless you
Mm,
want to spend like hours and hours explaining that and hope that they will understand. But
mm,
it's not really high chance that this will happen. So they just wait, like, give me a ticket, I will give you output, give me another ticket, but they
mm,
might not even know what's going on there. So it's tricky. Maybe, no, don't spend on ads, because if you turn on off the ads, everything will stop. Uh, what I found that works best is emails. So tools like Reply, for example, uh, you automate a lot of things. You write your own templates. It can refill automatically all the contacts. So last project I've done, I bought 10 domains, created 10 personas that would be sending those emails. And it was like sending like 10,000 every couple of weeks of new emails.
mm.
So really it started generating quite decent leads. So I think that would make sense as an investment. And it's like 500 and more for that volume of emails for that tool, plus domains, plus Gmail, probably subscriptions if you want
Mm,
to go through that. But I think that's probably the wisest approach, not hiring somebody to build it, and definitely not spending on ads. Because if you miss, which is like 99% that happen, then you spent
exactly.
your budget. There's nothing tangible at all. It's gone.
Mm,
Yeah, and if you bootstrap, well, depends on how much. It's
yeah.
it's same story. You just need really senior developer, because if they will make your very base of the project bad, you will have to remake the whole thing eventually.
Mm,
So tricky. Probably would be the best to know what you're doing yourself. Find somebody to the team to build it, but invest into sales. Unless, like, you might oversell, which would be like a happy day actually, to sell
mm.
more than you are capable to deliver. Then you would scale your team that builds the product and delivers.
Yeah. So one thing just came to my mind. The tool which you just mentioned, Reply. So is it some
Mhm.
sort of like Mailchimp?
No, kind of. So you create more personal emails. It's like,
Mm,
uh, hey, Atif, let's say, happy Tuesday, something like this. And then
mm,
you write what you're selling, and then you can use various functions to generate the content of email, but it is sent from your own email.
mm,
So as if you sent it, and then there are sequences, like you can create 30. So for example, in Europe, I think statistics says about 40 emails needed to convert, like to get an answer,
mm.
positive or negative. In the United States, it's about 80 follow-ups. So might be following up for 2 years, every month, sending some email and trying, happy New Year, how are you doing now? Maybe you changed your
Exactly.
mind and got interested in my stuff that I'm selling. But
Exactly.
that's a tool that handles all that automation.
Mm,
And recently they added that it can automatically populate the list of emails. So you do not need to buy it from somewhere else. It just throws in all those new contacts
mm,
according to your filters, and you just look what's going on and reply to those people, book meetings. So it's a decent service, I'd say. I got a lot of emails from various people offering the service of meeting booking, and they asked if 2,000 something like that, to get started, and then like 100 for meeting booked. I'd say just use the tool. It's the same thing.
Exactly.
But you control everything yourself.
Mm. Absolutely, absolutely. That's quite interesting. And one thing just just came across my mind that we talk about someone who's technical, who's a technical founder
Hmm.
to do the stuff on his own. But what if someone is a non-technical founder? So he can't code. So obviously he need to do something about it, and that's a tricky part.
Might be harder a bit.
Mm,
So, Y Combinator also, like those guys says, like learn coding or find somebody who knows how to do that, and that's how
mm,
you can deliver. But, if you're good at sales, for example, you can really sell your idea. I think that wouldn't be a problem.
mm,
No, because I had this idea that if you're a really good salesperson, it's much, much easier to find technical people for your
mm,
startup. But if you are really good developer, but you cannot sell, I think it's way harder in comparison to find a really strong salespeople. Because for those guys, it's easier, and it's harder
mm.
for technical. Because you
Exactly.
can build, but you cannot push it to people, and those guys can, and they probably know it.
Exactly, exactly. And this is the point where most of the people struggle with, and most of the developers, too. They can build anything, but they lack those skills because they are on the more technical side. So they find it hard to sell that. So
Oh, yes.
mm,
It was hard for me too. I just tried and wanted to do that.
mm,
All those first calls were so awkward and scary and sweaty, and blushing with the phone. Like, but, you know, they don't know you. Like, they will forget about you, next
exactly,
minute. So it's not
exactly.
really that bad.
Yeah, I think it's all in your head. You just made it so huge that what might happen, but in the end nothing happens, man. It's
Yeah.
just conversation, man. The major thing, what might happen, he just refused, that's it. But you never know until you don't try.
It might be a bad timing. They might not
Mm,
want it. They might get angry that you sent like 20 follow-ups. They will say like, "Oh, stop spamming, otherwise I will, like, I don't know, complain about you to GDPR, some company that does it." But you just stop and that's it. Just stop if they complain and move on to another person and annoy
ex-
that other one.
exactly, exactly. And it just reminds me of the early days, very early start days when I was just starting university. Before that days, so I used to used to cold call people regarding
Hmm.
some electricity connections. And man, those people were just like, it seems like they were just waiting for me to, to call and to, send out all their anger on their, frustration on us. So it's really kind of hard.
I've been in tech support. It was my summer job when I was in like a first course in university. It was terrible. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, man. And the the best, or the most interesting part is this. There was an old guy and he just called and why you keep calling me? Why you keep calling me? I'm just calling the police. I'm gonna send you to the police. And they're so frustrated, and
Hmm.
yeah, those
Yeah.
those starting calls are just like that. So yeah, but I think there's always a first time for everything, man. And
Yeah, we just need to be like find the brave in yourself and like just get
mm,
started, not overthink it. It won't be that bad. It won't be half that bad as you might think.
exactly, exactly. So Vegandas, just one thing just came to my mind that, have you ever encountered any, the production releases right on the weekend?
Yes, many.
And there's a
Don't do
circulation.
that.
Yeah, there's a circulation going on that man, don't do the production release on the weekend days
On
because
Friday,
all
don't
knows.
even do it on Friday.
Yeah, exactly
Like
on
Friday
Friday.
is sacred. It's like it's off. You cannot do anything.
And if something just goes wrong in the production release, then we all know what happens.
Yeah, for devs might be easier. You kind of, you got offline, you doing your own thing.
Mm,
Somebody might, the, your boss might not call you, but if you're like a manager of that thing and it's getting crashed, you're getting calls from your boss, you're trying to reach out to somebody, nobody wants to be reached. And that's not a good idea. And then try to fix it yourself on production, which
mm,
is dangerous. It depends on the size of the project. Usually, if it's a bigger project, your deployment takes like a half an hour.
exactly.
So you might just change one letter or symbol or anything, and then you sit and wait for the deployment, and then it didn't work. Okay, next thing to fix. Is, if people are complaining, it might be just like that, but yeah, it's not recommended.
Yeah, exactly,
Def-
exactly, exactly. And in your whole experience, what was the most challenging project you ever had?
Ooh. Hmm. We were building a tool for support. So
Mhm.
you know intercom. It's like that chat bubble on the side
Yeah.
where you can contact support, but on the other side there's a whole huge dashboard which is
Mm-hmm.
used by support people. And that intercom didn't had all the features that we needed. It was already um, like on steroids with Chrome extensions. It was injecting a lot of stuff into the page, so you would have extra buttons and extra menus. But this didn't help, and there were like a huge list of things that needs to be added, and it started not to make sense just to boost, modify it like that. And then we started making our own. So imagine intercom, like notifications, real time chats, multiple teams, multiple users, like tracking where they are, all of that stuff. So it was a huge project already. And in addition, it was a start of AI trend in the world. It was not
Mm-hmm.
LLMs, it was just AI. So probably most used was machine learning thing. So you just train it and can generate some text. It can figure out few things.
Mm-hmm.
It can give you positive signal, negative. Let's say it can analyze the message and see if it's angry or if it's not angry, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and that was like multiple teams. It For me it was a couple teams in my own country that I was managing, a team abroad. So it was like some part of it remote, part of it not on site. A huge project. We also were applying for R&D grant, European, so a lot of money involved in it. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't do stupid thing because it's like, you feel that like maybe the pressure was not like landed just like that, but you yourself come up with that pressure. It's like, oh, so much
Mm-hmm.
things, so many things, you need to do so many, and it's like huge responsibility if it's a flagship product, all blah, blah. So, yeah, it was a challenge. It worked. Everything went well. But yeah, it was. It was something. I think it thickened the skin on challenging tasks. And what I think, what good I learned, doesn't matter how scary that looks, if you keep organized, it will be fine. It's like that meme where the dog sits with mug of coffee and there's fire and it says, "Ah, it's fine." So
Exactly.
calm down, just do your thing, do one thing at a time and do it till the end. Also, there's a theory how anxiety gets built, for example, right?
Mm, mm,
So, anxiety mostly comes when you could have done something better to finish it, but you didn't, and it's hanging. One thing is not that
mm,
bad, but if you keep missing some small bits that you it's like 5 minutes for you to fix, it will build up and it will become very hard, stressful. So easy thing, just keep that in mind and try to be organized. So might not be that organized at the beginning, but you just try and that will help definitely.
exactly. And I just love the the whole analogy. And you know that's actually true when you start to develop things, and when you finish it, then you realize that it's not such a big deal which you were thinking right now. Because at the
Yes,
start
yes.
everything is in your mind, you are anxious, you are thinking what might go wrong, what could be the case, but it all went well. And then you realize, man, it's so easy. Why I was worried at the first place?
Yeah, I'll try not to estimate too optimistically, especially
Hmm.
if the stakeholders, if you think it will take 3 days, say a week
Yeah,
plus.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
So, otherwise, it will be very hard. It's like it never happens as you think
Y-
initially. It's always
Yeah,
at least double.
yeah, exactly. We all know, it's very rare it works at the very first, try. You have to
Yeah, and
keep iterating.
it's not only in development, I think, because
Hmm.
let's say you write documentation or you need to do something else, or you just need to get back to the client and give them an offer. And you think, I might make it in like, a day. Better tell 3 days because what happens is not that you cannot do it, you get distracted by other things,
Hmm.
and you just cannot do it. Just like that. That better to be safe. In development, it's the same thing. You might get a bug. You might not get a review done in time. Something else might happen. You will get dragged into a long meeting, and it will
Yeah,
use your
exactly.
time.
Exactly. There's so many, moving pieces, that has to be
Mm.
aligned. There's so many systems involved. The backend system might go down. Some APIs are not working. So, there are a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Server crash, it's like one day out.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy.
Exactly. Exactly. And I have seen, that is from the, the project owner perspective. But I have seen some devs, they are just, enjoying the day. The server is crashed, man. It's a holiday.
It depends what kind of manager you are. So your boss might start calling you, clients might start calling you. Some like founders do, like they start forwarding you tickets from support of like just giving you links to intercom. Deal with it, yourself. It's like not cool, not
Yeah,
holiday
exactly.
at all.
Exactly. Everyone on the management side were on super, super worried, but the development side, they are enjoying the
Yeah,
day.
it's like
Hmm.
probably the it's not like that you just deliver like yesterday everything. it's probably not like you want them to like sweat like crazy. The biggest fear is that clients might churn and you might start losing revenue, which you
Mm,
use to cover the costs. So you need to deliver on time. And usually there are more promises done in the chain to from the salesperson to
exactly,
developer.
exactly.
Sales guy promised in a month. Then let's say engineering manager, product manager promised in 2 weeks. Then product owner promised in 1 week. And then developer promised in 3 days. And developer, of course,
Absolutely, man.
makes it in 2 weeks. Then it gets delivered. So eventually it gets out in a month or two.
Absolutely. I was just, coming to this question which you just mentioned, that how do you kettle such kind of, unrealistic deadlines?
You promise
Mm,
crazy deadlines, in the first
exactly.
place.
You just beautifully, summarize the whole picture. It always, just goes like this, from top to
You know,
bottom.
if you talk with a client, they, if it's a B2B client, they know about it. They have the bunch of promises they have made to their own clients, and they know how slow it is. And you can simply explain. So we have a backlog of things we already promised to do. We have some other clients that also we have to take care of,
Mhm.
but we will take your idea or request or whatever it is, and we will put it into the roadmap, and we likely get into it, like, let's say at the end of the quarter or something like this, and they will probably be happy because if you're busy, the quarter goes like this. It's like
Mm,
super
exactly.
fast, but then it goes back to development. So you need to deliver on time. You cannot really wait the whole quarter with one ticket. So,
Mm,
that's how you get those tight deadlines because there are many other things waiting.
exactly, exactly. And Vegandas, you have also worked with, TopTel. So
I worked, yes.
I would like to know about your experience. How's the experience?
Um, well, I was in the core, not as a freelancer, and I
Mm,
actually have an NDA, so I can't really tell too much
okay,
about it.
okay, okay, okay.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
I work for
that's
Upwork a lot, though, on the
yeah.
other hand, as a freelancer. So, as a fractional CTO, so my title is fractional CTO, and I think
Mm.
some variations on other two profiles. I am
So
top 1% wet expert there now.
right. So on Upwork, mostly you have worked as a fractional CTO kind of projects.
My first gig was product manager. It was for like random low price. So I thought, I just need to get 5 stars. Doesn't matter how much they will pay me. So I bid with a ridiculous price. I did it well, got 5 stars, got nice review, then renegotiated a
Mm,
bit more decent, and then continued working with them. And yeah, that's how it started. So it's quite, you need to apply a lot there. It's like it's not that simple, but you know, taking care of your stars, making sure it's
mm,
decent, polishing profile, adding video helped. So it's very doable. I'll quite like it. They could
mm.
remove credits though.
Yeah, nowadays, I've seen some, freelancing. They're struggling with, the orders, and they're struggling with the projects. And now the Upwork is, re- they develop such kind of system where you have to buy the connects, where
Mm-hmm.
you have to buy the connects, and you have to, the more you put the bid, the higher your
Mm-hmm.
bid goes up. So it's kind of
But
something like that, which is, I think, not super friendly right now for the beginner.
but I don't. Oh, so people are bidding. I even see on other jobs like there's like 200 credits bid.
Yeah,
But
yeah, actually that's
you know,
super crazy. The more
but
bid your connects, the higher your
yes,
bid goes up. Mm,
but there is but that I hire for clients a lot also. So I have
mm,
a freelancer account, I have agency account, I have
mm,
5 or 8,
mm,
something like that, client accounts.
mm,
And I hire a lot of freelancers for various things. And I don't know, doesn't matter that you're the first. I will
mm,
scroll anyway. No, it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't show how much you bid. It just shows you in the
mm,
first place. That's it. You
mm,
know?
mm.
There's nothing exceptional except that bolt icon there.
Yeah.
And you look into profile, makes sense, not makes sense. Maybe
Mm,
the price they ask is way too high. So what if you bid, it will not make your price more attractive. you know?
yeah,
So
exactly.
I would save on that, but you know, I what I also notice, I sometimes place couple jobs, like a copies of it, and the same people applies to it, the same message, and sometimes even with the same bidding.
Mm,
And it's tricky. So I even tried various bots. I've seen like there's a gig radar, there's something else, don't remember exactly. So if you use that kind of automation, it doesn't care. It sees the job, it applies to it. But as a hiring manager, you see that it's the same person. Why would you waste the credit? I see, that it's the same person. You know, if it did not match the what we are looking for, it will not change. A lot of people are applying with ChatGPT and not reading what they're writing. I add at
exactly.
the in the middle, like talk about space, what you like about space, at the in the middle of your some cover letter, and then
The
add five
brackets,
random emojis.
the the brackets, the brackets, and right inside your company name here, inside your skill here, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah,
that
I know
kind of
those.
stuff. Right, right.
And people write about outer space travel and what they like about it. I know it's very annoying to apply to like hundreds of those jobs.
Mm,
That's known. But, you better write 2 sentences, but to the point rather than like 500 word and very generic ChatGPT stuff.
mm,
Because you see about outer space, you don't really want to read that much. So
exactly.
I think that would be an advice, better make it short. It will be more impactful. At least for me, from that other side also. Not that
Yeah.
easy though. When I apply, sometimes write the long thing with ChatGPT too.
Mm,
But trying. Short messages works better.
right. So among all the applications, there are also some newcomers or some, beginners. You have seen beginners applications as well.
Applications where? On Upwork?
Yeah, yeah, on
Oh,
Upwork. On Upwork. Because where I'm asking about this because most of the times when someone started on the Upwork, they
mm-hmm,
struggle to find their very first project because they don't have reviews, they don't have any history, client
mm-hmm,
testimonials, so they struggle a lot. So I would like to know a bit about your perspective when you are hiring someone. So what do you see in the
mm-hmm.
profile majorly?
I'd say half are new people, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't really treat them differently. It's
Mm-hmm.
like for me, probably more important is that either there is no success score or there's a good success score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like 90 plus something. To get to 90 is very easy. Just join an agency and leave it, and if the agency was bad, your score will go down too. So like not that terrible. Um, so hard to advise. Just probably be honest. Mention that you're just starting. I mostly work with very long contracts,
Mm,
so it's, I say, my perspective is all about long contracts, so it's a bit different probably. I'm pretty sure that those who hire, like, make a logo, make just a website, make something else, it's different. It's maybe easier to choose, but sometimes I get hired to help to hire also. Like, somebody says, I have an idea, I have a budget, figure
mm,
out who I need, get them to me, So, but again, it's at least 6 month project. It's about a year, potential to become full-time contractor, something like that. So you look more into CV, whether the person has potential to understand your business, if the education is relevant, uh, if they are not job hopping, if it's at least a year in one place.
mm,
um, what's the approach? For example, if I'm looking for a very long contract and I see person is doing like a lot of small projects, I wouldn't hire that kind of specialist, because it's just different approach how you work. It's you either make it done fast and that's it, you move on, or you need to really get into the process, into the business, and really understand what you need to do. And there are bigger challenges, and you need to stick with it and solve it. Those
mm.
small projects usually do not have really like big and like hard problems to solve.
Right, right. So for anyone who's just getting started, so in their profile, what they need to, optimize that to get the attention.
Don't make mistakes. Put up a nice picture,
Yeah.
you know, nice professional picture. Let's
Mm,
say, I really appreciate if people make a video. Don't need to make it studio quality. Just put your phone on the desk and talk about you. If it's not scripted, it's a plus.
yeah.
It's a big plus.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's harder to make it, like I struggle with it myself. You start talking, hello, my name is bad again. Hello, and if it's long, you will repeat so many times the same thing. But uh, at least, if you see the effort to make it nice, if you see there are no mistakes, it
Mm,
uh, tells that the person is more detail attentive and is more leaning to aesthetics of, because if you see mistakes, really bad photo, if the person works on your project, the work itself will be probably worse than the profile, because you might assume that this is the best they could do with the profile.
mm,
So you already assume that there will be mistakes, there will be missing things, it will be very hard to communicate, they might not talk to you as much as you would like, and so on, so on. So it gives an impression overall, definitely.
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah,
And
there's not much you can do. Sorry.
mm,
Not much you can do. So, nice CV, nice profile, short message to the point.
yeah, to the point. And it is recommended to in the upper, as you have option one main profile, and other one is
Mhm.
other profile, generalized one, generalized, and other one is specialized profile.
One general and two
Yeah,
specialized, I
something
think.
like
Yes.
that. In your profile you have such kind of category. So is it recommended to to offer two kind of services, or your second service should be in the similar niche or in the similar domain?
I sometimes look if I notice,
Mm,
uh, and it looks weird when person has two profiles and they're completely different. Let's
mhm.
say one is front-end developer and another one is bookkeeper, for example.
Yeah,
Huh.
exactly.
Which one are you working with the most? So are you bookkeeper or you developer?
Yeah.
So if it's relevant, like some people has like front and back end, and they use it to more relevant jobs, so that's fine, like, so basically it means
Mhm.
you're full stack. But
Exactly.
if it's completely like construction and something else, like, don't do that. Looks strange. It looks suspicious.
Exactly, exactly. And I think this is really important, and this is really super helpful. That you have to keep all your things relevant and to the point and organized.
Yeah, I think it's healthy to polish it every month, go through it. You learn fast if you work, if you into it, especially technology, for example. So
Mhm.
in a month or two, you will gain a new skill for sure. Also one thing that I would like to mention: do not add all the skills about everything. That looks also weird. There's nobody can do all the things good. Well, pick what you are really, really good at. There are a lot of jobs out
Mhm.
there. You apply to those. Let's say some people work with Laravel. They make websites and they add Java, .NET,
C sharp,
Node.
everything.
It kind of dilutes how somebody can perceive your level. Because
Mhm.
let's say you have 100 points, you write that you're Laravel dev, and all that 100 points to that. But if you write 10 other main languages, so you give like 10 points to each, so you don't really know any of these really well.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
think about how you present yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And I think this is really insightful. And most of the people, they do this mistake.
Yeah, you just I know that people try to be a fit to more jobs,
Mhm.
and they have tried. Maybe they worked with, let's say, Java a little bit, with .NET a little bit. They know how to run the project. But come on, there is probably one or two main platforms, languages, frameworks that you actually are good with. Because does it matter if you get interviewed to Java position? You will fail it in like first 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Do you want that?
Mhm.
So
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, I think people should definitely, write what they're looking for the most, and what their strengths are.
yes, it looks much stronger if you like focus on some area. You can have two profiles. Let's say, uh, as an example, backend Java, all the things about Java in that profile, the experience mentioned, like the patterns, other relevant tools. Let's say, I don't know, Kafka, what else? Spring Boot, all of that
Mhm.
stuff. Who is hiring? They probably know what's relevant, what's not. So it's not like you just have one pill of that skill. It has all that cloud should be relevant, about one main thing. And another profile could be, let's say, front end or QA, for example. The person might be a good QA. They might know um, that test pyramid. They might know manual testing. They might be good at automation. They might be good at test planning, all of that stuff. But these are clearly, when you look from the side, you can understand and you can imagine how that person could be able to do both things and be good at those two things.
Mhm.
But if it's 20 things,
Exactly,
it's hard to imagine then.
exactly, exactly. And it just leads to one thing, that with all the new technology moving so rapidly, so fast, and all the AI stuff as well. So what do you see the newcomers who are just getting started into software engineering and into the
Mhm.
tech field? So how can they gain their skills and keep up the pace with the new technology?
Please do not do everything with ChatGPT and
Mm,
or Cloud, or those tools.
mm,
It will give you more harm than use. I like I'm all into this idea. You need to know the basics really well, know at least couple of algorithms, like learn like free sorting algorithm,
mm,
something like this, because what I've seen in my job is, let's say, somebody starts making a feature, they do it with cloud, let's say, it can make you nice UI, sometimes it can give you, sorry, it can give you nice functions and classes and all that stuff, structure, but usually it's not what is needed. And no, like it is needed, but not the main thing. There is a problem that needs a solution. No,
exactly.
and then you need to figure out the solution. And if you go too far and you will write a lot of functionality, and then something stops working. And there were cases like a guy says, "Oh, okay, I'm done." Like, okay, show it to me. And then they show it, and I like, no, it's not like it's supposed to be working. Like, try to fix it. Couple days passes, and they're showing it
Mm,
again. Okay, here it is. And then let's look into code, like what's going on there. And then you start asking, so why did you do that? Like that looks weird. And they're like, I need to look into it. I will get back to you. Really?
exactly.
It happened multiple times. Like, really?
He
Why?
just
Why?
just didn't know his own code.
Yes, yes, because he kind of asked for it, but it's not
Exactly.
who wrote it. It looks. I even tried that. For example, I installed CloudMind into IntelliJ. It's
Mm,
a cloud connection, so it can
yeah,
read
yeah.
your code base and all of that stuff. And I took Java and you can try yourself. Like, make a worker service that
Mm,
would pull from database queue of jobs. Right, queue, let's say just class and payload, and it would
mm,
pick it up, in the backend. But that's the easy part. So, but then think about cloud structure, and you have auto scaling. So it's like 5 servers running the worker.
mm,
All right. Then you need to add Redis to synchronize all of the jobs between those workers.
yeah.
And then the task was that we had API calls that are throttled. So you can make, I think, 1 call per second to that specific endpoint. So it had to be grouped by group ID, which is basically a SHA number, the hash
Mm,
of that API token. Those tasks are grouped. It was a nightmare. It's like you can throw away the code, write it yourself in in one
exactly.
day, but fight with the AI was terrible. It's like it gives you something like, here it is. I hope you like it. And then you need to try to figure out, does it make sense at all? And maybe it's not making sense. And I think if newcomers will start working from that side, they will start
Mm,
asking for solutions. They will not learn how it is supposed to be done. And therefore, they will be very limited very quickly. They will not know what to ask, simply. They will not
exactly.
understand what they're getting. What's the pattern of that solution? What does it mean? What is it good? Is it not good? Does it match the whole project structure? You need so we had another one so with an AI. So I always tell the guys, you are the head, AI is a tool. Don't let your AI to be your head,
Exactly,
and you
exactly.
becoming the tool with hands, and writing things. You're still the head. You need to know what you're doing. The AI is just, like manual drill and electric drill. It's
Mhm.
before you worked with manual. Now you have power tool, electric one, but you still need to think where to drill and how deep, and what's the point of that?
Exactly, exactly. And if you, it just like that, that the goal is, you have to learn how to catch the fish, not just getting the fish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, that totally makes sense. And I think that's a great advice for all the newcomers to just get your hands dirty and just get the work done, and then eventually
Yes.
you have to think
And
about.
and then when you sweat your first feature manually, you
Mhm.
will appreciate more the power you get with that AI. Because when I started trying it, it was like, wow, it would take me a month to do it with my own hands, and I did it in like half day. It's like epic. It's crazy. But you need to know what you're doing. If you don't know, you'll have a hard time, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, Vegandas, we are just approaching, at the end of that show. So, just before wrapping up, just a couple of questions. That I've seen you have quite experience with the remote managing the teams as well,
Yes.
managing the remote teams for the startups for the various businesses. So, for anyone who's just who's in the startup phase or who's in the business phase, and just looking to expand the team, or
Hmm.
to what they need to look for the teams in the remote, specifically regarding the quality wise or regarding the the standards.
Hmm. So there is a big difference compared to on-site teams and remote teams
Mm-hmm.
on how it is managed. With on-site team, you just sit in the office. It's very fast communication. You just look into your colleague and ask for a question, and you get the answer, and that's done, right? You move on. Your manager goes through, they check in, how are you doing? You meet with them at the coffee machine, and talk about things. So you
Yeah.
don't really need to have that strict structure on how you communicate, how frequently you communicate, all those ceremonies. In the remote setting, when nobody see each other, you need to have really
Mm-hmm.
smart agenda with meetings. Let's say every day meet with like make let's say stand-up calls for sure. Never forget to make one-on-one calls with everybody separately, because you still need to keep that. It feels artificial, but it's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had like this gaming evening on Fridays when I worked in TopTal. So we're playing Among Us, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, various things, and laughing. So it was completely remote setup. We never even seen each other in real
Mm-hmm.
life. So it was, some bonding together. And in that case, what could go wrong if you pick the wrong person? It's like not wrong character, maybe. So
Mm-hmm.
people have to be more proactive. And if something doesn't work out for them, they have to ask and be able to figure it out. Like, not just ask a manager, but ask colleague, ask other people, find somebody who is a stakeholder and should know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because how it could go in a bad situation is that you have a daily stand up, somebody asks a question, and then it seems it's clear, and then the day starts, let's say. Then they get stuck, and they just wait the next day daily stand up to ask the question. And it's basically forever like this, you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
So that what could go wrong the most. But I'd say if you are building the team, you should decide whether you are going with on-site or full remote, because a hybrid, it's hard to do. I worked in such companies, so I was remote and I was managing people who were in office. Not all of them,
Mm,
like bunch of like I remember about 40 people remote, and then like seven but leads in the office.
mm,
And so most of communication goes with leads. Like, you basically do all the planning and everything, and then you expect them to deal with the rest of the people, because like
mm.
40 is a lot. You will not call all of them. It's like
Yeah.
there's no way. And what happens, you book a call on the calendar, and somebody from the office invites them to coffee, like a boss, for example, and they talk
Mm,
there, and you like sit at your computer, like, where's everybody? Like, why nobody comes? And that is like more like an anecdote, but it happens way more than you think. It's like it gets really annoying. You
mm,
need to deal with serious things. You need to discuss serious things. Like somebody else is waiting for your reply. You need to sort that out, but you cannot reach out to all of those people that you need. Somebody is somewhere. So it gets a bit weird, crazy.
exactly. Exactly. And with the remote setting, there are additional some challenges,
Yes.
which will come.
I also, been working in remotely before it got popular, before COVID.
Mm, mm,
Um, it has some downsides. You get up, you get the bathroom, you get the coffee machine, and you get to the office. It's like, everything is in one space. Uh, Starts feeling strange.
exactly.
Always
Exactly.
in the office.
Everything just mixed up.
Yes, yes. You start working late. You wake up, you work a bit, then a gap, no meetings, for example, then a lot of meetings, and then again nothing. Then you come up, okay, I need to deal with this, and you see it's 10. It's 10 already in the evening, and it's kind of strange. On the other hand, I tried to rent an office. I thought, okay, I got annoyed staying all the time at home. I will go to an
Mm,
office. Like, I bought a
mm,
palm tree, flower, a sofa, nice desk. I went there like for a month. So when you work remote with abroad, there are some random meetings. You get your meeting in the morning, let's say 10, right? For
yeah.
with the people who are in your time zone, more or less.
Mm,
But let's say there are frequent all hand meetings where stakeholders from United States join, and the meeting is at 7 till 9. You're
mm,
not going to sit in the office till midnight. You know, Wife is not happy, kind of feels weird. You spend the whole day in the office and you don't really have like anything to do for the completely whole time,
mm,
for the whole day. It's strange. So still staying at home is better rather than trying to mimic on site but actually doing remote. Yeah, there are some challenges. It has challenges with it.
exactly. Exactly. And Vegandas, there's so much more to talk about, man. I just didn't realize that the 1 hour just passed, and there's so much more to talk about, and I would
Yes.
like definitely to have you again on the show. We're gonna so much to talk about on the remote settings. and you know,
Likewise.
in the remote setting as well, and AI as well, and you know, the future of the technology. So before we wrap up the show, any last words of, you know, suggestions, any last piece of advice to all the newcomers, to all the, you know, engineer cats out there with the advance in the AI as well? So how can they prepare themselves to keep up their pace with the, you know, the latest technology?
I think you can boost your learning with an AI definitely, but
Mm,
you need to look, let's say, I think it would be a good idea to look into it as a senior colleague who
mm,
has a lot of knowledge. So you can ask about anything. You open the project and say, "What is this?" And it will explain it to you. Like you still don't understand, ask to explain me as like a noob, and it will explain it to you. So you get a crazy speed in learning. It's like very fast, like to learn like this because you kind of do things and you learn at the same time. It's even fast, better probably than courses, I guess. But do not let it take over thinking for you.
mm,
You still need to be, cautious and make those decisions. And you need to learn how to make those decisions. You can use AI, like let's see, what would be the best approach to make the best decision in this case. It will give you a list of frameworks, for example, or like ideas, but still you need to be competent and you need to be able to defend it. And think about it, if somebody asks, why did you do that? You will not say like, oh, AI told me that. Like think
exactly.
about it. Like,
Exactly. Super. Love that, man. And again, this thanks for being on the show, man. It was absolutely pleasure, and you know, totally love the whole conversation.
likewise.
And I would definitely love to have you again and again on the show. We have so much to talk about.
Awesome. Yes, I would love to join again. It was really pleasure to talk with you.
Thanks again. Take care. Bye bye. Have a good day.
Take care. You too. You too. Bye.